Hi guys, today it's going to be about a new trend regarding the new generation of the 9-volt batteries and the tyranny of numbers applied to the 9-volt batteries. Let's start it. As you know, all batteries are made of cells. This is an old cell, rechargeable battery, nickel cadmium, okay? So, when you want to know how much energy is stored inside the battery, you actually rely on the power, because the power multiplied by the time you use it is giving you the energy, okay? So the power in DC is easier to calculate, is basically the voltage times the current intensity or the amperage. And for the most of the batteries, we have something called the battery capacity, okay? And the battery capacity wants to tell us how much energy can we take out of this battery during the time. And the battery capacity is expressed, it's not an international unit, it's a technical unit, but adopted many years ago and still used by all the people using batteries, is expressed in milliamps hour. What does it mean? Take a look at this little battery, nickel cadmium. This is a rechargeable one. So remember the disposable batteries, 1.5 volts. The rechargeable batteries, the most of them, 1.2 volt. Actually, it's a bit more, it's 1.24, but let's consider it only with 1 decimal, 1.2 volt. So when you see 1.2 volt anyway, you know it's a rechargeable battery, okay? So let's say this one example. If the voltage is 1.2 volt and the capacity is given 600 milliamps hour, the meaning of that is I can take out of this battery 600 milliamps for 1 hour. Or if I keep the same, because here is the same as saying 600 milliamps times 1 hour of use, I can use, let's say, 300 milliamps. So then I can use it for 2 hours, because 300 times 2 is 600. Or if I lower the consumption and I only use 30 milliamps, it's going to be for 20 hours, and so on. Theoretically, nobody's going to do that. You can even say 1200 milliamps, but only half an hour. Don't worry, the battery won't last for too long, so don't do this. Use less than the maximum applied on the body, but this is the principle of operation. And when you want to compare different batteries, because this is a old technology, nickel cadmium, most commonly used everywhere is still nickel MH, so I write it here. Nickel cadmium is one technology. Nickel MH, metal hydride, is another one. There are differences between the technologies. That's not the point, because I just want to put everything in the context and to reach the 9-volt batteries. But they say that the nickel MH does not have the famous memory recalling how was it used first time. So it's going to be able, you're going to be able to recharge it more times than the nickel cadmium one, okay? So for this one here, the capacity is 2000 milliamp hour. You see? It's I don't know, you can see it now, okay? 2000 milliamp hour. So this battery is going to obviously last longer, because you can take 2000 milliamps hour for 2000 milliamps, sorry, for 1 hour. Or if you want, 1000 milliamps, which is 1 amp practically, for 2 hours. Or if you lower the consumption 50 milliamps, is going to be for 40 hours, okay? So depending how much amperage you remove from the battery, you take out of the battery, is going to tell you how long can you use it for that consumption. So I have here a little LED connected over a battery. So I'm going to be able to tell how long I'm going to be able to use this battery when the light is going to go off. So if I really want, just for a second, to measure the consumption, don't know if you remember, this is the famous LED simplest possible checker. Somewhere here on the cable I have a limiting resistor. Okay, so don't ever connect LEDs directly over a power supply, even a battery like that, because you burn them out. It's about 6 milliamps, you see? So 6 milliamps consumption. It's a very low consumption. This one is gonna last for days, but that's exactly what I want to check. How many days is going to last at that very low, very light load, okay? Okay, so that's how you know what is the consumption of your load. Now let's go further. There are different formats for the battery cells. This is a narrow one. And if you compare a narrow one versus a thicker one, you can imagine that's exactly like the wire gauge. If the battery is slimmer like this one, the amperage is going to be lower. This one is thicker, the amperage is going to be higher. Okay? So anytime you want a higher capacity, a bigger battery, of course, is going to engulf more energy. Okay? So everybody, when buying batteries, were saying, what is the capacity of the battery? Remember, by the way, even the battery of your car, which is based on lead, this is the symbol of the element in the table, lead-based, they say it's 12 volt. But it's 12 volts because this is made of 6 cells of 2 volt each, approximately 2 volts. It's not 2 volts, it's 2.05 up to 2.15. But let's say 2 volts, 6 cells. And each of them, imagine, delivers 2 volts because they are based on lead. They are not based on nickel. They are not based on other elements, but they are based on lead. So anytime you change the material, you build the poles for the battery, of course the voltage is going to change. This is why the disposable batteries or alkaline the voltage is about 1.5 volts, and the rechargeable batteries, the voltage is around 1.2 volt. Everything which is based on nickel, okay? 1.2 volt versus 1.5. So then I go to my point. You can make a 6 volt battery if you put 4 such cells in a pack of 4. It was used for many years everywhere, even for flashes for the cameras. All the professionals, they still have that. A pack of 4 batteries, okay? So double A's, 1.5 volt each. So you can make 6 volt. But when you want to use only one body instead of having a full pack like this, here you go for the example of the 9 volt battery, okay? And the best example is, this is a disposable battery, 9 volt, and this is a rechargeable battery. And take a look what they write on the battery, 9 volt, okay? But here, because it's rechargeable, they also write the capacity of the battery, which is 175 milliamps, okay? So 9 volt battery capacity is 175 milliamp hour. In other words, if I take out of it 175 milliamps, I can use it for 1 hour. Okay? It's not a big capacity, but it's a standard rechargeable 9-volt battery, nickel MH, by the way. Okay? So, because we started with the 9-volt now, let's see what's inside. Okay? So I'm going to try to open this one and to show you what's inside. We just have to open the battery, the cover actually. And when we open the cover, we take it out. So take a look inside actually is not one cell, because if you work with nickel MH, you're going to get 1.2 volt per cell. So let's count. On this side I can see 3, 1, 2, 3. And on the other side I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So guess what? 4 here plus 3 on the other side. This battery is made of 7 cells. But 7 cells times 1.2 volt each is 8.4 volts. So this battery, it doesn't matter what they write on the body. It's not 9 volt. It's 8.4. Let me see, I took a picture of it. Okay. So, let me see the picture. Okay. I'm gonna magnify this. Take a look. It's a picture from the side, from this side here, exactly on the side. And take a look what they say. 8.4 volt actually. So on the top of the battery, they say 9 volt. So here they say 175 milliamp hour, 9 volt. But actually, when you go on the side and you read the fine printing, you find 8.4 volt. Why? Because, as we've seen here already, it's made of 7 cells of 1.2 volt. And I've seen such, let's call them 9 volt applications battery, made of 6 cells instead of 7. So it was only 7.2 volts. 6 cells times 1.2 volt was only 7.2 volt. So they were not having 9 volt. Where this is relevant? Because recently a new kind of generation of small batteries appeared on the market. I was waiting for this for years, because since I bought my booster for the car, which is based on lithium ion. Okay, the lithium ion cells, they have, let's call it here, lithium ion cells are about 3.6 to 3.7 volt per cell. So one cell is 3.6, 3.7. So based on that, they have a converter inside the box, which is raising this to 12 volts, because this is to boost my car if my battery is dying. Okay. So it's also delivering is also delivering 5 volts on the side, okay, to charge your other stuff at low power. So I was wondering why they were not making such a 9 volt battery already. So they did it. So let's consider inside the battery. They have 3 things inside. Okay. So here are the 2 contacts. And they have 3 things inside. Let's say 3 blocks. They are related. Here in the middle is the battery itself. Okay, lithium ion. But again, it's a combination. Let's consider 1 or 2 cells based on 3.6 volt. Okay, because battery cells based on lithium ion is 3.6 volt. And here you have a DC to DC converter. to raise that voltage up to 9 volt. So this time is not 8.4, is 9 volt precisely because of this converter. And of course here they need the charging diagram. And because of this, on the back of the battery, there is a USB-C connector, and each pack of 4, it comes together with a little cable. So you plug the cable, you use a power supply, okay, and take a look inside the battery. Now there is a red light saying that the battery is not charged yet. When it's going to be charged, it's going to go red. It's going to go green, sorry, okay? So the light changes to green when the battery is charged. And not only the advantage of this battery is you're going to get 9 volts and not 8.4, but it has a high capacity. Take a look here, 1300 milliamp hour. So I'll go here with my 9 volt battery. Okay. So lithium ion based 9 volt battery. Okay. So capacity for this one example, okay, is 1300 milliamp hour. Hey, compare versus my old nickel MH 9 volt battery. This is a very known company, Energizer, so it's a good quality battery, versus nickel MH 175 milliamp hour. If you divide 1300 by 175, you're gonna get about 7 times better capacity on this one. But the thing is, lower capacities are always available everywhere. So what's my point of today actually is to show that the marketing department of these companies, remember, the marketing department doesn't work for us. It's only working for the shareholders. So unlike in the old good times, when they were trying to trick us with all kind of stupid things like the PMPO for the audio. Some of you, the olders of you, you've heard about this. It was either called the peak music power output or peak momentary performance output. So on small computer speakers of 10 watt, they were giving you something like 100, 200 watt, okay? So just to impress you with bigger numbers. Or for the vacuum cleaners, there was something like peak horsepower, okay? Just to get out bigger numbers, okay? These powers cannot ever be used in reality, okay? Anytime you hear the word peak as the first one, be very careful, okay? But this time the marketing department became more subtle. They took real numbers just to present you bigger ones to impress you. And what is the trick? What I found is some batteries are presented very well like this one with the capacity expressed milliamps hour. But some others are presenting like that, 5400. If you only take a look at the number, but you don't take a look at the unit they use, you're going to be tricked, because unfortunately we always tend to buy bigger numbers. So 5400 is obviously much bigger than 1300, but there's not milliamps hour. They say is milliwatt hour. That's a major difference, because again, reminder, the power is voltage times amperage, intensity, okay? So here what they gave you was the product between voltage and intensity. So if you know the power, you can recalculate the amperage as being the power divided by the voltage. So the power being 5400 milliwatt, okay, divided by 9 volt, because the battery is 9 volt, the actual amperage you get is only 600 milliamps. So 600 milliamps is actually less than half of this one. So be careful. Conclusion. If anybody is presenting you the information 5400 milliwatt hour is the same as 600 milliamp hour. They are the same. But if you don't pay attention again to the small printing, because the units unfortunately are always written in small printing, you're going to be impressed by the number first, and you don't pay attention to the second one, which is the reality, okay? And this trend, I found it's starting to go more and more present on Amazon when you buy this kind of batteries. And this is why I decided to make the short video today, just to let you know that you have to make the distinction between this and that. So let's just move for a second on the screen of the computer just to see if that kind of information appears on Amazon, okay? Let's go. So, here you are. Here, everything is just fine. 1200 milliamps hour, 9 volt lithium rechargeable. It's a perfect information. Take a look here though. 5400 milliwatt hour long-lasting lithium batteries. I'm not talking about how many times can you recharge the battery. It's not a point about the lifespan, okay? The point is about how the information is presented here. This one is okay. This one also is okay. But this one is not, because this number looks much bigger. Actually, this one has half of that one here, the capacity, because the capacity for one, as I calculated on the paper, is only 600 milliamp hour, okay, because 600 times 9 volt is giving you this, versus 1200 milliamp hour. So, now you know. So please be very careful about the new trend in presenting the capacity of a battery, because you want to be able to compare the batteries of different technologies using the same kind of unit, and this is the milliamp hour. So far so good? Okay? So having this thing in mind, remember this 9 volt battery, okay, is made of 7 cells, and by the way, I can do more for you, and if I pick up a standard alkaline battery, which is 9 volt, and we're gonna open this one as well. We just have to find, yeah, here. Okay, you take a look. Inside you have 6 battery cells. So in the box there are 6 battery cells, but because this is alkaline battery, these are disposable, so 6 times 1.5 is 9 volt, okay? So this is why the disposable battery, the alkaline, it had 9 volts, because this is 1.5 times 6. And the other one, the nickel MH rechargeable, was only 8.4 volt, because it was made of 7 cells, 1.2 volt each, okay? Versus the new generation of batteries. So you see now it started to go green. So the battery is actually charged right now, okay? So I can disconnect it. So much easier to recharge it. You don't need a special charger like you needed for the old generation of batteries. The capacity is much bigger because it's based on lithium ion. And the voltage is 9 volts because of the DC to DC converter embedded in the body, okay? So now you know. Thank you very much. See you for the next one. Bye-bye.